Hello, we're here to analyse Franco Colapinto. Firstly, congratulations to Franco Colapinto for making it into Formula 1 for 9 races. We're here to look at his data from the 2024 Formula 2 season. There have been 10 rounds of Formula 2 so far this year. There have been 10 qualifying sessions, 10 feature races, and 9.5 sprint races. So can't really count the sprint race at Belgium. You'll see a couple of headings: qualifying speed, race speed, qualifying speed, race pace, ultimate pace, and ultimate pace adjusted. So qualifying speed is very straightforward. You just analyse all the qualifying results, average them out. And then the one with the fastest time, which is Isaac Hadjar, average gap to pole is 0.272. But because he's the fastest, this column removes 0.272 to give Isaac Hadjar the overall qualifying speed of pole. And all these gaps are relative to Isaac Hadjar. And then race pace is a lot more difficult to calculate, mainly because of safety cars. Now, how is race pace calculated? So, if you're 40 seconds behind the leader after 40 laps, then that's 1 second a lap, isn't it? Race pace, that you're behind the leader. Whereas if you're 20 seconds behind the leader at the end of 40 laps, and you average out what is the time per lap that you're losing, that is half a second a lap. Okay, fairly simple. In races when there's a safety car, you have to average out that where they were before the safety car and after the safety car, and you have to adjust for pit stops. So it's a little bit complicated, but we've got our race pace values, and I think they're fairly accurate because it's in much the same order as the qualifying speed. Notice the fastest driver for both qualifying speed and race pace is Isaac Hadjar, closely followed in both categories by Gabriel Bortoleto, with Paul Aaron being a distinct third in both categories. So I think that this race pace value is very accurate. The ultimate pace adjusted is the main value we're looking at. That means that you average out these numbers, the qualifying speed and the race pace, and that gives you an ultimate pace across qualifying and race pace. And as you can see, this is a very, very tight Formula 2 field. The top 15 drivers, in terms of their ultimate pace, are within half a second of each other. Now I want to talk about Franco Colapinto. His position pace-wise is 9th. So looking at this figure, this data, now congratulate Franco Colapinto, Young Driver Academy. He gets the promotion over drivers that are aligned to other teams or who are not aligned whatsoever. However, at a race pace of 9th, he is 0.304, so 0.3 of a second in ultimate pace behind Isaac Hadjar, and more than a quarter of a second behind Gabriel Bortoleto. So he's actually behind by about half of a tenth of a second behind Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He's more than 3 years older than Antonelli. So I think Franco Colapinto is a strong driver, but there are better drivers left on the table here. This doesn't take into account a crash quotient, like how likely is this driver going to crash. In qualifying speed, Dennis Hauger, Franco Colapinto's teammate, is almost 0.2 of a second faster. Now, some people like to talk about how experienced drivers are. Dennis Hauger is a third seasoned Formula 2 driver, and Franco Colapinto is in his first season. However, They are both about the same age. They are both born in the year 2003. Dennis Hauger was born in March and Colapinto was born in May. So there's about 2 months between them. I think Hauger has been the faster driver, but he's been more crash prone. I'm just looking at that 0.3 of a second behind Hadjar, behind Bortoletto, behind Paul Aron. Paul Aron is not... He's probably a little bit more incident prone than Franco Colapinto. Obviously Colapinto has great racecraft. He overtook Paul Aron in the last lap or something, or was it the last corner of the last lap in Imola in the sprint race to take the win. So obviously there's talent there, but his outright pace, to me, it's not there. And there's a lot of quality drivers on the table who don't have an F1 contract, who I think could be faster drivers than Franco Colapinto, but I'm still happy. In a way, I think Colapinto is a very good choice. I think it's a very tight Formula 2 field. But, you know, to me, the reason that James Fowles has chosen Franco Colapinto is because he's a Williams Academy driver. But as I said, there are faster drivers on the table. Now, this is the same thing. If we go back to 2022, they picked Logan Sargent because he was a Williams Academy driver. And here we see that back in 2022, same data, ultimate pace, Logan Sargent is 1/4 of a second slower than Felipe Drugovich. So, to me, that 1/4 of a second is a lot. That 1/4 of a second accounts if an average Formula 1 race is 60 laps, that is 15 seconds at the end of the race. And just here I was talking about Colapinto 3/10 behind Hadjar in 60 laps. That's 20 seconds at the end of the race. That is a lot. I think that the Formula 1 team should always be on the lookout for the fastest driver. To me, it's a little bit of politics saying, to me it's politics saying that this driver is our academy driver, we're picking him. But I still think Franco Colapinto is a good choice. I hope he does well. Sometimes being fast in Formula 2 doesn't translate to being fast in Formula 1. Maybe the reverse is true. Colapinto is probably very fast. I think this is a very strong Formula 2 grid. As you can see, 15 drivers are within half a second. I'll repeat that. 15 drivers are within half a second of the ultimate pace. That is amazingly close. It's hard to quantify that when you think about over 5 or 6 kilometres of a Formula 1 circuit, over 10 races and all the qualifying sessions, you think about it, that the gap between 15 drivers is half a second, when really our human minds cannot quantify half a second. That is just unbelievable. So it's good to see that we've got a strong Formula 2 grid, and hopefully Franco Colapinto is a very quick driver and he does well.